ladies and gentlemen, it is the week before Christmas.
Not the night before Christmas, the week before.
The week before Christmas. This is when I get thinking about starting to buy Christmas presents.
Yeah, my dad always waited till Christmas Eve. I remember he would just be in a panic. It'd be Christmas Eve, not for us as kids, but for my mother. He would wait till Christmas Eve to try to buy a gift. Did you do that? And is that
I
what
still
you do?
do.
He still does it. I swear he still does it. John still does it.
I usually have an idea,
Yeah.
but I'm just not one to run out and
Get
particularly.
prepared.
Yeah, particularly, well, I might go around and sort of spy a little bit.
Yeah.
But I like the hustle and bustle of the 2 or 3 days before Christmas when everybody's out there and it's, you're
So,
going
Fran,
and.
if you can't find John tonight at midnight, he's out trying to get your Christmas
No,
present.
this is the week before Christmas.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
the week
right.
before Christmas. Okay.
Christmas isn't this week,
So you're
it's
not
next
out.
week.
You're still.
That's
you're
when
still,
John will
Yeah.
go shopping next week.
It's next week.
See, this is Christmas Eve will be what?
A week from.
A week from
Week from
today.
Today.
yes.
Yeah, I forgot.
So I'll be shopping next Monday.
John, you remember our late friend Howard Holt?
Oh yeah.
And Howard and I used to go Christmas shopping together, and Howard was the ultimate procrastinator.
Yeah.
And I remember, and we'd go on Christmas Eve, and we would go to Nashville. Nashville has a lot of bars and stuff in it, as you may know.
Really?
You may know. But one Christmas Eve, we had run it to the limit. I had a list. I knew what I needed. And
Luckily.
Howard says, let's go over here to this bar, and then let's go over here to this bar. Just kind of ease into the Christmas spirit kind of thing. Well, the next thing I know, we look up, and it's about an hour before all the stores close.
Oh, no.
And so I took my list, and we make this mad dash. And I remember buying one time Agner coats was a big
Yeah.
deal, and
Oh, yeah.
some other stuff.
We all remember that.
And every time I would, I think we were in like Dillard's or Castronauds or something like that. And I was telling this clerk what we needed, and we're watching the clock because we're running out of time. And every time I tell them that I needed this, and these were some fairly expensive items, Howard would say, "I'll take one too." And so we spent way more than we needed to because we had run it to the limit.
To the limit.
And our wives, who happen to be good friends, got exactly the same thing for
Oh, no.
Christmas. So anyway,
And they knew exactly what happened.
and they knew
Yeah,
exactly
they figured
what
it
happened.
out in a
They knew
heartbeat.
exactly what happened.
In a
Yes.
heartbeat.
Yes.
So no, it's just it's a good time of year. Everybody, I hope everybody is
We hope everybody's
going to be
shopping,
relaxed
yeah, and shop locally.
Shop locally.
Lots of good
Try to
things.
buy here in Tullahoma. There's so many neat little places that you can go buy stuff, and you don't necessarily need all of this great huge things because people pretty much buy for
What they
themselves
need,
throughout the
They
year
do.
now,
They do.
more so than they did back 20 or 30 years
Right.
ago.
Yeah.
So find some little cute thing that's just different, even artsy. The
Art-
art
artsy
center's a
things
fine
are-
place to go look for
They
something.
have some beautiful
Except
things
anybody
that are on sale.
anybody shopping for me, don't buy me something that you sit around.
In the house.
in
There's
the
no
house
room,
because
right?
there's no room.
Same here.
Yeah, I'm out
No,
of room. I'm out of
Flat
room.
surfaces are all full.
Yeah, that's right.
And we need to remember what Christmas is really all about. And
Sure.
there's lots of
Absolutely.
wonderful things happening in the churches around the whole entire region. And there's no reason that you can't get out and feel the Christmas spirit, whether you're buying or not, because it has a meaning.
Yeah,
and
we
it's so
had
deep.
our cantata at the First Christian Church yesterday with Vicki and Kyle, and Ann Baldwin led the orchestra. We had Jenny English was there, and Greg, and we had a full orchestra for our
You have a
cantata
fabulous
at the
music
church.
program, yeah.
So the program was just absolute. But it was a sort of a European folk celebration. We even had Christy Beavers was playing her accordion.
Oh, great.
And so and it fit into the music and the flutes and different things. So it was a very country European
I think she maybe did some
celebration of
Celtic
Christmas
things.
music, a few Celtic things. So
things.
it was just very, very different
And for whatever it's
extremely
worth-
enjoyable.
That was last night, right?
Yesterday at church,
Yesterday at church.
or Sunday at church. I'm
Oh,
sorry.
sorry. Yesterday,
Sunday
There-
night, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Sunday
which
night.
was Monday night, I was in my bathroom with all my with my radio and my phone charged because we were under a tornado watch.
Oh, that's
and,
right, yeah.
There was a lot of damage across the
Yes, it
southern
was.
part of the United States.
Well, and
In
it's
my
kind of funny.
area, I'm right in the
You're right in that
'Cause-
path out there on
Yeah.
the way to Winchester from Tullahoma.
Exactly, and that-
You know, right there, Jerry Harris sort of lives right
Yeah.
over the hill from you.
We're-
Y'all have a little spot right through there where that stuff comes through quite often.
I haven't looked at my trees yet. In the past, I've had trees down, but maybe not this time.
I think it stayed a little bit south of where you
My
are.
cat even got nervous and came in the
Really?
bathroom.
No kidding.
Which surprised me. But that's where I was. And there was nice things going on. The homeschoolers were doing a concert, and I had planned to go, but I kind of decided maybe I better stay home.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can't see everything.
No, you can't.
So I ended up watching the Norman Tabernacle Choir, orchestra, dancers. They had a special singer, and I can't think of her name right now, but everybody should know. But anyway, it was really nice too.
I want to know if anybody out there, I already know the answer,
Yeah.
has gotten hooked on Hallmark movies for the last month.
I really haven't.
Sylvia Benson's in the audience. She confesses.
Sylvia Benson's out there. She's got her hands up, hollering hallelujah.
Hallelujah, yeah.
Y'all, it's just the same show every time, the same ending every time.
My
It's always-
wife loves those, and it drives me
It drives me crazy.
You know,
I
it
just-
drives me crazy.
Which is interesting.
But they always have a good ending. You know, nobody dies in them.
Right.
No, somebody might already be dead.
Well, but how many people go and they walk down the aisle, and at that last split second, that person that they're really in love with comes and rescues them?
Has that ever happened in real life?
Somebody gets hurt.
I guess it has.
The man standing there that is not going to get married. He gets hurt. That happens. I've
Well,
seen
they
it
always
happen.
thing about it is they go along and they about 15 minutes to the end of it's when you just need to turn it on, because that's
Yeah.
when they get mad at each other.
Yeah.
One of them finds out something the other one's hadn't told them,
Right.
and they disappear. And then within 15 minutes, there's soul searching, there's cocoa drinking, there's hot tea and crumpets.
They're holding the plane.
They're holding the plane. They ain't a drop of whiskey or wine ever consumed. They cocoa drinking and donut and cookie eating, and then there's an epiphany. Oh my God, I can't let her go.
Right.
Oh my Lord, I can't let him go.
Yeah.
They run through flame, through snow, through ice,
And open
knock
arms.
down the church doors, and tackle somebody at the altar. Give them a big kiss, and then it's over.
That's right.
The credits run.
The credits run.
However, folks, if you like that,
That's great.
that is absolutely great. This is just happens to be John's
We just happen to
opinion.
like
No, I watch them. I
Yeah,
watch them.
yeah.
I mean, it's. What's interesting to me about them is how all of these places, all of these little towns, it would cost a fortune
Oh yeah.
for these little towns to look the way they do.
Oh, yeah.
It cost
They're
a
always
fortune for the
perfect.
movie company
Yeah.
to make them look like
I
that.
know, it's
Yeah.
amazing. And they build snow and they do all the stuff they have to do. I don't know how they afford
And then
to
you
do
look
it.
at it and it's snow in a blizzard.
Yeah.
And the guy back there is supposedly in the snow doesn't have one flake on his coat,
Right.
which means it's snowing on the camera, but it's snowing on the set.
Yeah.
By the way, that kind of reminds me, John Snyder from the Dukes of Hazzard.
Yeah.
And I think that we may have a film clip on the Today Show. I'm not sure, but he has a new movie out called Christmas Cars, and he had the movie.
Cars.
Cars, yeah.
Okay.
And he had the premiere of that movie over in Winchester at the Oldham Theater in
Lucky them.
yeah, and Philip and I were there, and I asked John why he had it there, and he said because this theater, why he had it in Winchester. He said this theater in this square so reminds me of Hazard County, wherever that was filmed.
Yeah.
And you know, the theater particularly is if you've ever been to that theater,
It's a neat theater.
It's kind of a neat little place, you know, and it takes you back 50 years probably to what theaters
Exactly.
used to look like. It's still operational. Still, I mean, it's still.
Still got the
All
neon
right,
sign.
now that you've done that, I'm going to tell the backstory.
Okay.
The reason that Mr. Fuller was over there was because several years ago when John Snyder was in town to do another event, he was interviewed by Jim. And Jim had read backup information and done his research on John Snyder. So when he interviewed John, he asked him other things about other than the TV show. He questioned him on where he was from, Dukes of Hazzard. He questioned him on other things. And John Snyder was so impressed, and his company, his people were so impressed with Jimmy's interview that they called Jimmy and asked him personally to come interview John in Winchester.
That's awesome.
And I just want to say congratulations and how
That's
professional.
great.
Well,
Folks,
thank you very
this
much.
guy right here is one of the best
Yes,
interviewers
he is.
that I've ever been around. And that's a perfect example. When the big boys call and ask for him or ask for you, you've done something right.
Well,
Thanks, Jim Fuller.
I can't take all the credit for that because the way it actually came down, I already knew a little about, quite a bit about John Snyder, but had I not, when we started the interview, the first time I ever interviewed him, John really wanted to talk about other phases of his career other
Right.
than the Dukes of Hazzard. If it hadn't been for Pam
Spencer.
I would have been lost because we had been on another video shoot. I think we were at the Moon Pie Festival
Right,
in
right.
the War Trace, and on the way back
Bell
from
Buckle.
Bell Buckle, yeah, and on the way back from there, she starts reading. She's reading me these things
Yeah.
about John, and some of it I didn't know, and it was part of his
She
real
was
career
educating
now.
you as you went along,
Yeah,
right?
so fortunately that worked out really well for us, but it couldn't have not been quite that good if we had
Well,
had some
Pam,
good help.
Pam,
But
if you don't know, Pam Spencer's our partner. Jimmy's partner in another business as well, but she's our handler.
Yeah, our
pretty
handler,
much,
right.
and
Right.
she's the one on the backside of everything, who seems to always be one step ahead, and has that piece of information that you need when you need it.
That's great.
Pam's already got it.
She's already got it.
She's already thought about it. So thank you, Pam Spencer, for all you do for 27 years.
John Snyder's a great guy though, and he's an
Yeah.
easy interview. I mean, and John and Peggy know what I'm talking about. Sometimes you kind of run into people to give you yes and no
Yes or
answers,
no, and they don't
you,
say
and they
anything.
don't say anything. John is just so outgoing,
Yeah.
and
You don't have to dig too deep,
You don't
do
know,
you?
you know, he's a pro. You can tell.
Yeah. Well, I guess it's about time for us to take a quick commercial break and be back with today's show. It's the week before Christmas, folks. Are you ready?
Keith Barnett here at Russell Barnett Ford of Winchester. Check out the 2018 Ford F-150 as low as $34,739. That's Russell Barnett Ford on 41A in Winchester, home of the lifetime powertrain warranty. And remember, my question is, why buy anywhere else?
Your word is like a lamp unto my feet and a light unto my path. As we celebrate the birth of Jesus Christ, follow his path of love, forgiveness, obedience, and prayer. To all of you we wish Merry Christmas!
You made the time and the sacrifice to broaden their horizons, to see their smiles, but mostly to make lifelong memories. We think it's time to do it again, just the two of you. Don't let illness or injury slow you down. The rehab team at Life Care Center of Tullahoma is ready to help you live well.
It's time for every family and business in Tullahoma to go green and recycle. Tullahoma Public Works makes it simple and easy to recycle. Just place your recyclable materials, paper, plastic, aluminum, and cardboard beside your garbage container on the same day your garbage is picked up. Your recycled materials don't have to be in a fancy container. Recycling is not only the right thing to do, it makes sense. Recycling pays. Paying to bury our garbage costs each of us. Please do your part. Let's go green, Tullahoma, and recycle.
Get your news first, fast, and free with your news leader on 6 every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday nights at 6, 8, and 10 p.m. Local weather, sports, community calendar events, and a comprehensive look at the latest news stories and news makers as only a video news broadcast can do. Get it first, fast, and free with News Leader on Channel 6, your local information network.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I'm pleased to have joining us now Sylvia Pinson from Shelbyville, Tennessee, who wears many, many hats in this world today. She's on the county commission in Bedford County and also in charge of the census.
The Bedford County Census.
Yeah. And we were just talking about Sylvia really loves the challenge.
I do. I think it's in my DNA from my mother.
Yeah.
A lot of my had a power of influence because she was a political lady.
Really?
In 1958, she ran against for county trustee of Bedford County.
Yeah.
Beat 6 men.
No kidding.
No kidding.
And that was a big news.
It was the big news.
At that time.
And
yes.
she served 2 terms.
Yeah.
So when you have a role model like that,
yeah.
And her leadership and her ability that taught me that community connecting and people. So my brother and sister would always say, you're still living. It's called Sylvia, not Sarah.
Right.
So, yes, thank you for asking. That was great.
You know, something else I noticed about you, and I think I'm correct here, weren't you on a state champion basketball team?
1964, Shelbyville.
Yeah.
That was the first.
Right.
And I was 18 years old, and at that time, you don't realize the impact on the community, what that basketball victory did.
Yeah.
And of course, when I left Shelbyville to go to college at Martin College, and then the University of Tennessee, and then I spent 42 years out of Bedford County. In 2006, I accepted the job as the Parks and Rec back in Bedford County in Shelbyville. Everywhere I went, I would be on a finish line, a marathon in Jackson, Tennessee, and all of a sudden I heard my nickname from my high school.
Right.
And the first thing they say, I saw you play basketball. So 55 years. I still celebrate it when I came back to Shelbyville, and when it turned 50 years, we had a big celebration.
Right.
But I retired my jacket. It is at Fly Arts Center.
Okay.
With this celebration, and so, but I still play the game.
Yeah.
The new coach for Shelbyville brought in one of the players, Joanne Liggett-Bills, and I, and we talked about how it was. Mm-hmm. She had a whole parade of our uniforms, and the girls now have baggy pants. Ours was kind of satin.
Yeah.
And we had a travel uniform, and Coach Bobby Locke was our coach.
Right.
And that victory team set my professional life because of the fact of the leadership roles and what the sport character of being an athlete is.
Yeah, absolutely. What was your nickname?
Sib.
Sib.
Sib. That so when I would hear it while I would gone somewhere, I knew it was a real close friend.
Yeah.
So some of the ball players, when I got back to Shelbyville, would call me Sylvia because, and we had some nicknames for some of the other girls, and I had to train myself to call their name because of the nicknames we had in high school.
Right.
But it was a beautiful journey. We went in to see the Eaglettes under Coach Hicks, and there was a book written called Only an Eagleette Understood. And at that time, the man that wrote the book, Gene Pierce, was from Jackson, and I didn't know him. So I had come to work for the Shelbyville Rec Center, and he walked in the rec center and said, "Is this why you left Jackson, Tennessee?"
Yeah.
Well, no, sir. This just happens to be built here.
Yeah.
I came for the job opportunity.
Right.
And it happened to be in my hometown.
Unbelievable.
Not everyone gets to come home.
Yeah. Do you remember the score of the championship game?
Yes, I do. 48-46.
Oh.
And
very
it was so
close.
funny because it was 3-on-3 basketball.
I remember.
And I was the playmaker
Mm-hmm.
of the forwards. And of course, we were going in undefeated.
Mm-hmm.
We had 33 undefeated games that year. And so they had seen the film. So basically, I started shooting, and Coach Schlock said, "Oh, please," and I was hitting. I scored 26 points that night for the team.
Yeah.
And for the whole, the rest of the years, I was playmaker.
Yeah.
I had the short girl, Hannah Clay. We had Carolyn Subbetter, that was the big post in the back. So we're all still together. We've lost 2 off the team.
Right.
But as far as that, we're all still, and some of our 64 ladies are playing with the Bedford County Senior Olympics out of the Shelbyville Rec Center,
Okay.
which I started.
Yeah. All right. Great story.
Great.
I have got off on another track here, Sylvia, so I apologize.
That's okay.
But you're actually here to talk about New Year's Eve.
I am. As soon as I retired, I went as a volunteer for the Bedford County Arts Council.
Right.
And so I came in as their PR and marketing. And we're very proud of our Fly Arts Center. And so couple of my jobs has been marketed, and then I got someone to help. I moved into promoting the Butterfly Festival. We started 2 years ago as the chairperson, going into the 3rd year. But then my hot button was the dances. So we have a New Year's Eve dance starting.
Yes, okay.
And we're honored to have Chase Clanton in the Vintage 5 this year because he's a hometown boy. And it's really great to work with his parents and himself. He's a bright young man, very talented, and he has a wonderful band. So it's New Year's Eve. Tickets are $25 a person. They're online tickets reservations. And you would go to flyartscenter.com, look on the top bar, find tickets, and come in. First thing they're going to ask you to pick a table, pick a seat at the table.
Right.
Now, some of the tables are already gone. Don't let that, just keep working. And then if you have any questions with that, my phone number is on that.
Right.
So I filled about 3 or 4 tables yesterday to just show them where and how it's designed, where they would be sitting.
Right.
So for the $25 per person, you get a heavy hors d'oeuvre feeding about 10 o'clock. We have found if we do something like that, the doors open at 7, 8 o'clock, about 10 o'clock, we do that, stop the band, they get a break, then that allows our sponsor of food, once we feed, they can clean up, and then when the dance is over, I can walk out and have everything going. BYOB.
Yeah.
You can bring your own snacks. We will have just Cokes, water, and setups.
Right.
Party favors. So I'm there, rolling and rocking.
Okay.
So go online.
All right.
Fly Arts Center, Shelbyville, Tennessee. And we'd love to have everyone.
Tickets are still available for
Yes,
that,
sir.
so folks. So and now's the time for you to start getting serious about what you're going to do on New Year's Eve.
I'm kind of like a lot of people. I usually like to party myself, but for the last 5 years, I've been hosting this party for the
right.
fly.
Keeps you out of trouble, Sylvia.
Yeah. Some people are always saying, hey, no, you be good. I said, don't ask me to be good. So, thank you.
All right. Sylvia, you are always such an interesting person. I love talking to you.
I am crazy on top of it. Thank you.
All right, folks, we'll be right back with more living right after this.
Here at Manchester Funeral Home, we know the importance of living and working in our local community because it's those families who we serve during their time of need honorably. We believe in supporting local business and offer only 100% Batesville caskets, the best in the industry and a driver of our local economy. If you want straightforward and fair pricing while working with the people you know, choose Manchester Funeral Home, serving your community since 1932. And pre-planning and pre-funding can be the best gift you ever leave your loved ones. Call us to pre-arrange. Manchester Funeral Home. Our family caring for your family since 1932.
If you want to be a parent, it doesn't matter how you play, what you wear, how you dance, or even what direction life takes you. You just need to be there. You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care don't need perfection. They just need you.
How long has it been since you raced a cheetah? Are your tornado creating skills getting rusty? Tired of being the only one in your neighborhood who hasn't built a dinosaur? Sounds like it's time to visit the Hands-On Science Center. The Hands-On Science Center is an indoor science playground. In this museum, please touch is the rule. Join us for weekly science demonstrations on space, lasers, lizards, rocks, and a whole lot more. No two visits are ever the same, so visit often to see our ever-changing exhibits and demonstrations. The Hands-On Science Center, 101 Mitchell Boulevard in Tullahoma.
Get your news first, fast, and free with your news leader on 6 every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday nights at 6, 8, and 10 p.m. Local weather, sports, community calendar events, and a comprehensive look at the latest news stories and news makers as only a video news broadcast can do. Get it first, fast, and free with News Leader on Channel 6, your local information network.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and as John and Peggy and I were talking in the opening today, last week John Snyder, they previewed John Snyder's movie over at the Oldham Theater in Winchester, Tennessee, and of course they had the red carpet out front, and John and part of his cast were there to talk to us as well as several radio stations in the area. So we did talk with John, and he's excited about this new movie called Christmas Cars, and a lot of the movie it's really about John's personal, about his life and how things have come down in his life over the last few years. If you recall, they had a huge flood down there, kind of wiped out John's studio in Louisiana, and it sort of centers around that and John's life and the ups and downs of that's happened recently. And it's a great movie, and if you didn't get a chance to get to the premieres, I'm sure a lot of people didn't, you can go to johnsnyder.com and you can purchase a DVD of that movie. Let's watch that video now. Ladies and gentlemen, we're here today in front of the Oldham Theater in Winchester, Tennessee. We're waiting for the arrival of John Snyder, whose new movie, Christmas Cars, is coming out this week. It's premiering right here at the Oldham Theater tonight. We've got lots of people that's lined up in front of the theater waiting to see John Snyder and some of his cast, some of the other cast members of the movie Christmas Cars.
Just a moment.
John Snyder, how are you doing?
I'm wonderful.
It's
nice
good to
see you.
Good to see you here today.
It's great to be. I feel like I'm in Hazard Square.
I got to ask you one question. How did you decide to have the premiere of this movie right here in Winchester, Tennessee?
Well, I love these wonderful old theaters, and also we have a dear friend, Betsy, right there, who knows the theater owner, and she actually said, hey, wouldn't it be cool to have a premiere in such a beautiful old theater like the Oldham? And I thought, absolutely, because it reminds me so much of the movie theater I went to when I was a kid in Mount Kisco, New York.
You know,
single screen.
Speaking of old, I saw it. Yeah, and I'm pretty short, John.
I'm just uphill.
I saw a picture. I saw a video of you the other day, and you were talking to someone, a reporter from Texas, and he was pretty young, and he kept calling you Mr. Snyder. And so, since I'm older than you are, I guess it's okay if I call you John.
You can call me John, yeah, but he has to call me Mr. Snyder. That's just how that goes.
John, you've got to be excited about this today. Tell us a little bit about what motivated you to do this movie.
Well, the Dukes of Hazzard has been very misrepresented in the last several years. So I thought, number one, that somebody needed to represent the recipe and all the heart and soul of Dukes properly. And number two, this is our 40th anniversary of Duke. So I thought it would be a great opportunity, a great time to do that, and to show people that there really is something more to the Dukes of Hazzard than just cars flying through the air. And there is no racism whatsoever in the Dukes of Hazzard, nor is it in the General Lee. So it's widely misunderstood.
And would you agree that at the era the Dukes of Hazzard happened in, nobody even thought of that sort of thing?
I honestly don't think anybody thinks of it now. I think there's a couple of very loud, very obnoxious people out there on the internet that are causing trouble because they don't have a hobby. I wish they'd have some other hobby. Maybe open a book, read a little history. I don't know, learn something.
The storyline in this movie is sort of a reflection of your life in the last little while, is it not?
Well, there's a lot of the good and a lot of the not so good. Yeah, the financial issues, the divorce is not in there, but the flood is in there. Mm-hmm. We had 2 floods in 2016 that took everything I had and everything Alicia had twice. So it was a devastating year that we still have not really recovered from.
You have recovered to the extent that I think this movie was actually produced in your studios in
yes,
Louisiana.
Absolutely right. It was, yeah. Yeah, but I've been doing this a long time, long enough to know what not to worry about. So, and Alicia used to run Robert Evans' company at Paramount. Mm-hmm. So we know, I blinked, when we do a movie, there's no fat, there's no waste.
Right.
So we really know how to do a film on a budget and make it look big, mm-hmm. and you're going to see that tonight.
You also have said that this movie kind of was a healing process for you.
Absolutely. There's a scene in it where I lose my studio, and it is shot in the Livingston courthouse, not exactly in the room, because we shot in the old courthouse, but I lost the studio in the new courthouse on the date that we have the auction in the movie. So yeah, there's some very real feelings in there for me, and I'm delighted that part of my life is over. And there's some celebration in the end of the movie, which actually happened in my life. So yeah. It's cool. It's great to be able to share that sort of thing because, people think that people on television are just ridiculously wealthy and have no problems. Well, I tell you, getting famous was easy. Staying famous, not so much. One of the lines in the movie is, "Welcome to the lifestyles of the broken famous."
Okay. You also you used to be a country singer, still are, I think.
I still am.
Still
I have
am.
the number one song
yeah,
in the country Christian market right now.
This is not necessarily related to
it's
the
like
movie.
Saying Johnny Cash used to wear black and Willie used to smoke pot.
Was that your first song on the Christian charts?
Yes.
Oh, cool.
Yes.
Congratulations.
It's number one. Well, it's Cody McCarver's song. I mean, it's really Cody McCarver's song. I just sing with him.
John had a song back in the late 70s, early 80s called "I've Been Around Long Enough to Know." Yeah.
Now I have.
But I'm a little bit worried about you because I read somewhere that you actually jumped the General Lee yourself.
In this movie. In this movie, yeah.
You drove the car.
I did.
Okay.
Yeah, I did. I mean, that was for my 59th birthday. I figured it was time to do that, and I'm just crazy enough that next year I'm going to jump it even further.
I think I've used up my allotted
60.
Yeah. If you quit doing dumb stuff and you make it that far, hopefully.
Yeah, but what fun is that?
That's right, no fun at all. John,
the dumber I am, the funner I get.
I think I've used up my allotted time.
Maybe I should read a book.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe you should write one.
I did.
You recorded, 50 songs, 2 songs?
Yeah, but I did write a book. That's what this movie is based on.
Okay, good.
My Life, My Way. It's in there on a table. Check it out.
All right.
Some of the words are spelled right.
if some of our, really, no kidding.
Some of them are.
Good schools in New York where you went.
Yes.
Yes, okay. All right.
Oh, yeah.
John, if people didn't get a chance to see this, to be here tonight for this premiere and haven't seen the movie, they can buy it on your website, I believe.
They can. They go to johnschneiderstudios.com, or if you want to download it, you can go to Cineflix, D-O-D, CINEFLIX, DOD.com, and you can download it. You can own it that way. You can rent it. You can do anything you want.
All right.
But I'd like you to go to the studio and buy it. You know, we're independent. We're independently produced, and we're also independently distributed on purpose. I believe this is the way to go. I don't believe in the Netflix model. I don't believe in the studio model. I believe in the independent thought, independent art model, and that's what we're doing.
Okay.
So help support that.
All right. Go to his website. Tell him again what it was.
JohnSchneiderStudios.com.
John, thank you so much.
So
we
welcome.
appreciate it. Always nice to see you.
Keith Barnett here at Russell Barnett Kia in Tullahoma. Check out the 2019 fully loaded V6 Kia Sorento, up to $6,400 off original MSRP. That's Russell Barnett Kia in Tullahoma, home of the lifetime powertrain warranty. And remember, why buy anywhere else?
My wife Jackie has always been the life of the party. But things changed when she couldn't be as active anymore.
They told me I needed a double knee replacement.
It's not as big a deal as it used to be, but she still needed to go to rehab.
I was amazed at how good the therapists were at Life Care. They took really good care of me.
They took excellent care of her. And now she's back doing the things she loves, and that makes everyone happy.
Life Care Center of Tullahoma wants you to get active and live well.
So you've been meaning to do something healthy, commune with nature, get outdoors and meet new people. We have the perfect solution. Come hike with us. You can find a Tennessee Trails Association chapter near you, including Clarksville, Columbia Franklin, Highland Rim, Jackson, Knoxville, Oak Ridge, Memphis, Murfreesboro, Nashville, Plateau at Crossville, and Upper Cumberland. We're on the web at TennesseeTrails.org. It's fun, it's stress-free, and it's good for you. See you on the trails.
Get your news first, fast, and free with your news leader on 6 every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday nights at 6, 8, and 10 p.m. Local weather, sports, community calendar events, and a comprehensive look at the latest news stories and news makers as only a video news broadcast can do. Get it first, fast, and free with News Leader on Channel 6, your local information network.
Talking history about this and that. It's conversations with John and Pat. With John and Pat. With John and Pat.
Hello everyone, John Rickman here. And this is Pat Welch. And John, we're here under probationary status from after segment 88. We're now 89. We have cleared management to continue on. Hopefully we'll get the green light from here to 100.
We're not going to mention snakes for a while.
No, I hope not.
Back in the 50s, late 50s, I guess, early 60s, but I believe it was late 50s, Robert Mitchum had a movie called Thunder Road. He was a young man who drove a load of whiskey to the place he was carrying it for his daddy. His daddy made the whiskey, and he was the driver in a souped-up car. And I think probably a lot of kids back that time had souped-up cars and had it weighted down in the back, just like Robert Mitchum might have back that time. But,
where was the location supposed to have been?
North Carolina and East Tennessee. The song.
Okay.
What is amazing to me, Robert Mitchum wrote this song. Now I might not sing it just right because there's a lot of words, goes pretty quick, but I'll try my best. And
well, let me interject something that might be of a little bit of interest. Do you know which county in the United States killed more federal agents during Prohibition than any county?
Franklin County, Virginia.
Bingo. Obviously, I've told you that before.
No,
but
you didn't tell me. I just know.
Okay. Well, then you're a man of
I watched
great
the movie.
higher learning.
I watched the movie Lawless. Rough movie, but it was in Franklin County. More whiskey was made illegally.
It was incredible. I have been to Franklin County, Virginia, and it is in the very, very rural, and there's more gravel roads by far than there are paved roads, and there are hairpin turns and everywhere. It'd be a great place for somebody to hide his steel. Do you know the county seat of Franklin County, Virginia?
No.
Rocky Mount.
Oh, North Carolina?
Rocky Mount, Virginia.
Oh,
it's the county seat.
Wrong state. My wife's father was an alcoholic. He learned to be an alcoholic drinking from his daddy's still in Livingston, Tennessee. From Livingston. And he liked the taste of alcohol, and his daddy made the whiskey, and he became an alcoholic and broke up that marriage. My wife's mother's and father's
Bless his heart.
Yeah, but this little song about Thunder Road. Let me tell the story. I can tell it all about the mountain boy who sold ran illegal alcohol. His daddy made the whiskey, the son he ran the load, and when his engine roared, they called the highway Thunder Road. And there was thunder, thunder, oh, Thunder Road. Thunder was his engine, and white lightning was his load. And there was moonshine, moonshine quenched the devil's thirst. The law, they swore they'd get him, but the devil got him first. In the month of April 1954, the federal man sent word, you'd better make your run no more. They sent 300 agents covering up the state. Whichever road he took, they'd get him sure as fate. Son, his daddy told him, make this run your last. Your tank is filled with 100 proof. You're all tuned up and gassed. Now don't take any chances. If you can't get through, I'd rather have you back again than all that Mountain Dew. And there was thunder, thunder, oh, the Thunder Road. Thunder was his engine, and white lightning was his load. And there was moonshine, moonshine quenched the devil's thirst. The law, they swore they'd get him, but the devil got him first. Rolling out of Asheville, revving up his mill, he shot the gap at Cumberland and screamed down Maynard Hill. G-men on his taillights, roadblocks up ahead. The mountain boy took roads that even angels fear to tread. Then outside of Knoxville, out on Kingston Pike, just outside of Bearden, he made his final strike. He left the road at 90, that's all there is to say. The devil got the whiskey and the mountain boy the day. And there was thunder, thunder, oh, Thunder Road. Thunder was his engine and white lightning was his load. And there was moonshine, moonshine to quench the devil's thirst. The law, they swore they'd get him, but the devil got him first.
That was an absolute classic, John. And
Robert Mitchum would be proud, wouldn't he?
Recent employment and my travels in East Tennessee, I've been in several of those spots, Maynardville, Kingston Pike. Yeah. I can promise you one thing, though, there's a vast difference between Maynardville and Kingston Pike and Knoxville today. One of them is a center of retail, and the other is extremely rural.
Well, that song took a little longer than some others, so we better get right to the subject matter.
Any segue today, John?
That was not a good segue because this man, he was good as gold. He was a Tullahoma native. There's nothing about what we sang about that even compares, you might say. We're going to talk today about Bob Couch. Everybody loved Bob. And he has a program on P-Head Productions, just kind of like what we do.
Well, let's set the record straight on that too, John. A lot of people think we came to be the new wave of Bob Couch and so forth. I can't do that one because there's only one Bob Couch, and we've got our own show. And please don't compare us, because if you do, me and you are going to be second fiddle.
And it takes two of us.
That's right.
And Bob could sit there by himself.
Two can't do the job of one.
But Bob, wonderful fella. Show that picture. In Bob's declining years, I was a Rotary program chairman, and we had that man that looks like Abraham Lincoln at our Rotary that day. And Bob was a Rotary member, always a Rotary member, and he was in bad health, and he was homebound at this point.
He would have had close to 50 years perfect attendance too, John.
Yes.
Anytime he was sick or something missed, he'd make it up in another town.
Dr. Jerry Kennedy next to me, and between Dennis Boggs is the fellow who portrays Lincoln. Speaks just like him.
He looks so close to Lincoln there that it almost looks like he's photoshopped in. But that's him.
My sister-in-law was a principal at a school over in Lewisburg, and she had him come and speak to her students, and then he went all over Lewisburg talking about Lincoln and his and he'll give the Lincoln, like the Gettysburg Address and things like that. Just, and there's Dot on the left over there, and we just, that was a great day. That was a day that I'll always remember sitting there with Bob. Now, notice that clothespin on Bob's on robe, on that's holding the robe together.
Which he normally wore it on his tie at work, up at couches. And
it was notes that he would.
He'd have 4 or 5
himself.
stacked in there about call Kodak or call Miss Chrisman, or it was incredible.
In Rotary one day, I had him sign a clothespin, and I auctioned it there at Rotary, and I don't think it bought but maybe $5 or $10. I can't remember. I was sort of disappointed in that.
Yeah, that would have done a whole lot of the polio vaccines in the Third World.
But anyway, Bob had that clothespin on, and there was. I'll let you read that, Pat. And his mother, Belle.
Yeah, this is interesting. Which we never did. We just thought he just wore it for a joke. But his mother sent him to school with a clothespin on, and it was supposed to remind him of 3 things. Now, this is
what 3 things could it be?
This is a young man in elementary school whose mother has sent him to school with the 3 things he needs to always remember, reminded by a clothespin. Number 1, don't forget to blow your nose. Number 2, pull your socks up. Number 3, be nice to your teacher. Now, that would be 3 good things to remember for today.
Now, I want to go to that next picture, Philip. If you do those 3 things, they'll name a highway after you.
Or at least you'd be on the list as a possibility.
Yeah,
that's correct.
Yeah. I took that picture. I got a little cheap camera, but it came out pretty good. But that's Bob Couch Highway. That's down Jackson, looking up North Jackson. And Bob was such a wonderful person, and thank you, Philip, for that picture.
He was so open and so receptive to new people and to guests, and he sold Tullahoma, whether he was in Tullahoma or whether he was in Anchorage or whether he was in Singapore. He loved Tullahoma. And I can remember being at Couches one time, and there were 2 or 3 people in there, and somebody had just moved in. Now, remember, Bob would have really been busy at Couches during the expansion of AEDC and tremendous growth in Tullahoma. And there was some question about, I've been in Tullahoma so many years, am I a Tullahoman or am I a native, and they were all having a discussion about how long you had to live here, what you had to do, and that kind of thing, and before somebody would consider you native. And he piped up real quick. He said, listen, as soon as you can learn to spell Tullahoma and pronounce it, you're a native. So he, where some people, if you haven't been here 25 years, or if that's a barrier somebody put up, you're not really a Tullahoman. Bob took you just as soon as you came into town, that's the life he lived.
He was well recognized too at MTSU.
Oh yeah,
Middle Tennessee
he was
State.
A really active alumnus.
They walked him out on the football field one time, recognizing him for some particular facet of.
He won the Nunley Award.
Nunley Award, and we know Joe Nunley. We've talked about him before.
Right. And his
Nunley Award.
Father had been the principal at Forest and Chapel Hill, and then he was at a really active career at MTSU himself.
Bob's a wonderful guy. And Pat, we could go on and on about Bob Couch. And we love the man, and love Dot, and Candy and Fran, and they're great.
Well, what are you ready to close out? Because I've got one tidbit to offer that not many people knew, but back in the 40s and 50s, and he did a little bit in the early 60s, because I saw it one time. He did a comedy act off a diving board with a guy named Gene Boaz, and Bob did a lot of it later on by himself, but he was a really good acrobat, and they'd be on these really high dives on the, somebody told me, Lake Tullahoma and Avoca. And he had a real old-style swimsuit down about his ankles and stripes on it, and covered all, you know, his arms and so forth.
Trying to be modest.
Oh yeah, he'd go up and do all kinds of flips and stuff, and then do belly busters where you think, golly, how can man survive from that? But he was really a talented, interesting, and a great church person, First Christian, and just a welcoming, accepting person. He was really a neat guy.
He made Tullahoma great.
Oh, he was a great Tullahoma person.
Folks, that's it. We got to quit talking about Bob. We just go on and on about Bob.
And that was segment 89. And
I think
we
you're right,
hope,
Pat.
since we've done this segment on management's relative, that we won't have to go through probationary status but one time. We hope we're at number 90 on our own, because we got more stories to tell. Thank you all.
Talking history about this and that. It's conversations with John and Pat, with John and Pat, with John and Pat.
Clayton's has been Tullahoma's family shoe store for over 100 years, with a reputation for fashion and personal service. And the tradition continues today. Stop by Clayton's and see our large selection of fine shoes.
We're gonna fit your style. We're gonna make you smile. Service and quality at Clayton's Shoe Store. We're gonna fit your style.
Ah, the glory days. Running to daylight on the gridiron and chasing a ball with a mind of its own. Cheering the team to victory and marching to the beat of your own drum. Memories that last a lifetime. But sometimes we're reminded of our glory days in ways we'd rather forget. Get back in the game. The rehab team at Life Care Center of Tullahoma is ready to help you live and play well.
Get your news first, fast, and free with your news leader on 6 every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday nights at 6, 8, and 10 p.m. Local weather, sports, community calendar events, and a comprehensive look at the latest news stories and news makers as only a video news broadcast can do. Get it first, fast, and free with News Leader on Channel 6, your local information network.
Good morning, all you wonderful people in TV land and camera ladies. Thanks, John, for that introduction. And Madam Elf, we're delighted to see that you made it here this morning. You know, it's a wonderful season. Hot, cold, dry, wet, whatever it is, the Christmas season always fills you with good spirits, and it's wonderful to be here. And having seen a lot of seasons in the past, I'd like to share with you a current event and the same current event many, many years ago, and that's the snow season. You know, the ground was blanketed with snow this morning, and until it gets waist deep, I think we could probably get around these wonderful Tullahoma streets and byways. But you know, I'm reminded of some of the days gone by. I think I mentioned it in an earlier show, that in 1939 for Easter we had an early spring, and the grass was up and the violets were up, and the jonquils and tulips were all up, and sure enough, all the ladies were ready to come out in their Easter finery. Guess what happened? Saturday night before Easter, it snowed. I'm telling you, about a foot of snow, and little buttercups and jonquils, little heads were just sticking up above the snow that day. And that was not a good weather year either, because in the fall and winter of 1939 was one of the hardest freezes in the century. And the Avoca and Lake and Lake Tullahoma froze over. And I don't know whether it was Hubert Crouch or Robert Doss that bet somebody that they could drive their Model A across Avoca Lake, and I don't know what the bet was, but sure enough, they drove a Model A across Lake Avoca in the winter of 1939. In 1940, winter was not much better, because that was the winter they constructed Camp Forest here for the big Army base, and there was mud around the clock, and they had a good group of big international dump trucks that brought crushed rock from the quarry at Normandy and Lynchburg, and I forget where the other one was, but they brought gravel into the Camp Forest area around the clock so they could have some kind of footing to get the trucks and material in there. But one of the worst things about that winter was the ice, terrible ice. The temperature was not too low, but the ice was terrible, and the wind. I know the trunk line of the telephone company that went down the alley between Washington and Atlantic Street that had probably 20 cross arms on it, maybe 100 wires that took the telephone communications between Chattanooga and Nashville, and they were sagging not to the ground, but they were loaded with ice. And of course, ice is the biggest enemy of the electric company. Wind is bad and rain is bad, but ice, they just can do more. As we all know, in the ice storm just before Christmas of '98, how the service was interrupted, and we did makeshift things to live together and stay together, and we made it fine. But Mother Nature has a way of working real hard. One of the fun things about ice and snow is, if you can have some otherwise fairly decent weather, was to go sleigh riding and sledding. I know Camel's Hill, which is the second block of West Lincoln Street, before it was ever paved, was real steep, and it was gravel, and that was called Camel's Hill. And it was fun to get on a great big piece of heavy cardboard or sled and run and jump on it about when you're in front of Domino's Pizza on West Lincoln Street, and you could slide all the way across the bridge, Rock Creek Bridge on West Lincoln Street. And it was fun. The police or public works people put a big 55-gallon oil drum in the intersection there of Lincoln and Jackson, and kept a fire going in it so folks could warm their hands, and it was a great time and a lot of fun. And the automobiles or vehicles couldn't come up that block of West Lincoln because it was so steep and slick. Another good sleigh riding hill was over behind the old Tullahoma Laundry. There, and it was called Osborne's Hill, and you could go down on it and sled. If you didn't turn quick enough, you'd wind up in Rock Creek, and a lot of our buddies did do that, but it was so much fun. And long about the middle of the early and middle 70s, had a good snow on a weekend, and a lot of folks went out to the Lake Hills area near Avoca, and it was good wide roads out there, and real good and slick. The sun was out, and spent the whole afternoon, that Sunday afternoon, sleigh riding. And a couple of brothers here, the twins, Charlie and Clarence Weaver, that made a big wooden sled that probably 15 and 20 people could get on out of 2x4s and some old lumber, and they called it the dingbat. And they'd get somebody in a pickup truck or a car. that would drive them all over town, had blankets, and it was so much fun. But if you're bundled up good for cold weather, why, it's really, really great. If you might as well not try to get out in a T-shirt because you freeze and take cold, you know. But if you're bundled up real good, well, it's a lot of fun and keep warm that way. But those days were real fun. One winter, many years ago, the weather was so severe and the snow was so heavy that people ran out of firewood, and the city fathers said you can go down to South Jackson school grounds and cut some of those old oak trees down there and get you some firewood. When the school was first built there, you could not see all the way across the campus for the big trees that were there. But that particular winter, they cut down many of those trees for firewood, and that was a 13-acre block there that was the original town square. And even years before that, I asked my grandfather one time what the earliest snow was and the latest snow, and he didn't remember when the earliest one was, but he said the latest one was the corn was already up and the gardens were green, and the yards had plenty of grass and the leaves were all out and everything. And on May the 16th of 1886, they had about 18-inch to 2-foot snow that late in the year. And I thought, surely not in May, but sure enough, somebody called in the weather people at Channel 5 a year or two ago and asked the same question: when was the first one and when was the latest one on record? And sure enough, May the 16th, 1886, blanketed Tennessee from Memphis to Kingsport with a deep, deep snow, and it stayed, they said, for about a week. But those are some of the things that, and things of past that were related to snow. I understand that today the forecast is for, I think, a high of about 20 and possible snow flurries tonight and Saturday and Sunday, and Christmas Day is supposed to be cold but dry, no snow. But I'm wondering how it would be in where was it, in the Midwest in the last couple of weeks. They've had such terrible, deep blowing blizzard type snows. I talked to one of my suppliers in Iowa yesterday about 3 o'clock, and the lady said, we're getting ready to go home. I said, how come? She said, we can't see across the street. The snow is blowing so hard, and the streets are slick, and we want to get home when we can. How is it down there in Tennessee? I said, well, the sun is out now, and we've had a few snow flurries, but it's pleasant, and if you bundle up real good, it's not too bad. I wish we were down there because we're up in all this heavy blowing snow, and but that's what you expect up there, you know, to have plenty of snow and that sort of thing. But we live in the sunny South, and I'm glad that we have the changing seasons, the 4 seasons. One last thing I remember very well, February the 16th, 1946, when our ship had just come back from the South Pacific. We pulled into Boston Harbor, and it was 26 below zero, and the wind was blowing about 50 or 60 knots off the North Atlantic. And I'm telling you right now, I prayed if the Lord get me back to Tullahoma, Tennessee in one piece and get me thawed out, I would never, ever complain about hot weather again, and I haven't. But those were really bone-chilling days. And tell you what, this is not the end of the story, because there's a lot more to come, be coming pretty soon, and we'll have some tales to tell, and we thank you so much for watching, and everybody have a good, dry, warm day.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is the paint. I just knocked a tree over. This the paint doctor. I got the color wheel. Now, you know what a color wheel is? It is the wheel at the paint works where you pick all your colors to paint your room. It could be a multicolored beard. It could be a underarm fan. You never can tell. One thing we do know is that it's time to paint. You know, you can make your wife very happy if you go to your house and paint some rooms, or you paint the outside of the house, the inside of the house. It makes them feel very good because you work hard for them, and they like that. All women like to see their man sweat, you know? They do. Honeydew is what they do. And you get to do it too. So you go to the paint works at 1960 North Washington Street, and you see David Heikkinen over there, and he's the real paint doctor. He fix you up with color. It's so nice when the color is right. Go to Paintworks today. Martin Senor. See? Martin Senor. Right there. Martin Senor at the Paintworks. Bye, and we see you next time. I'm burning up.
You know what, guys? There's a lot of tree branches and dry brush over here. We should probably move the bonfire over there.
I'm guessing Smokey liked that idea.
Okay, so what would you bring to my company?
What do you need?
I need problem-solving skills.
I got through high school without a car, a phone, or a computer.
No college degree, though.
Not yet, but life's taught me a lot, and I'm ready for more.
Well, you're not the typical kind of candidate that I hire. But you are exactly what I'm looking for.
Your company could be missing out on the candidates it needs most. Learn how to find a great pool of untapped talent at gradsoflife.org.
Get your news first, fast, and free with your news leader on 6 every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday nights at 6, 8, and 10 p.m. Local weather, sports, community calendar events, and a comprehensive look at the latest news stories and news makers as only a video news broadcast can do. Get it first, fast, and free with News Leader on Channel 6, your local information network.
All right, folks, we're back, and it's
another day.
Another day, and
by the way,
Christmas
tonight,
Eve.
I know that Dustin Lynch has a full house at for tonight.
Right.
Well, the Civic Center is showing It's a Wonderful Life, the movie tonight,
right,
at 7 o'clock. So if anybody wants to go and see that, it's a wonderful opportunity for an old favorite.
And Jacob and Cindy Gray's show, movie Christmas Movie Tunes, is at South Jackson Civic Center this Friday and Saturday
starts
night.
At 7 o'clock.
7 o'clock, yes it does.
And they have a cast of about 35
to 40
people.
They have all kinds of folks. It's going to be a big
fun,
show and a lot of fun.
I'm excited about it.
And, you know, it's just got a couple of things here. Oh, don't forget, if you need your Tullahoma where I call home t-shirt for a Christmas present, we have these at Couches, short sleeve in the blackberry and the long sleeve in a Merlot color, and you go down there and Candy will fix you up with one of those. It's a great thing to send off to family.
How much are they?
The short sleeves are $20 and the long sleeves are $24. But it's a good thing to send to family. You know, there's a lot of people who live here, raised here, who live in somewhere else.
And it's
what
the
a great
only Tullahoma in the entire world.
Yeah, and what a great
which is amazing.
Gift is to get something. And a lot of people have moved here and enjoyed their stay here as well, and then moved off to somewhere else. So a great gift. You can buy those at Couches. And
now, what have you written lately?
Well, a short thing here after Thanksgiving. Knowledge and nourishment are consumed in many ways: a leg, a thigh, or white slices on bread that's dry. They can be hard to swallow at times. Smaller pieces and proper ingredients can please both palates with a rich tetrazzini.
Good.
Hospitals.
Thanks. Oh gosh.
Admitting, where you jump through their hoops. Reception, where you're made to feel like they care. Waiting. Well, that's waiting, as hospital clocks don't have hands. Recovery is not remembered or the surgery. Discharge. Deposit you on a sidewalk, hopefully fixed.
Right.
And then the other day, I love this. A single snowflake floats on the wind like never has been before or ever will be again, randomly created from the elements in place at a unique moment in a unique space. Each a gift of beauty, a miracle to see. Each a single snowflake, just like you, just like me.
I love that. I think that's my favorite.
So we're all different. We're all unique in the way that we operate, the way that we do. We all need to be loved. We all need to be cared for, and we need to care for each other. And we hope that in this holiday season, you remember what it's all about, other than just buying a toy, a ring, or a dress, or a suit, or a hat, or a tie, or socks. It's love, it's joy, it's faith, the gift that we give to one another that makes this season so wonderful.
And peace.
And peace.
It does.
Yeah.
And it's so important that we remember that.
Yeah. So, with that said, we're going to go to the Young Artist Showcase. I think it's how we're going to close the show today.
That was done in November, and we have some great young artists.
Good talent. Good talent here in Tullahoma. Folks, we'll see you next week with our Christmas show.